Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Conodger here. Welcome back to Formula 1 2019. Today, we start week number 2 in our career, and that means that we are moving on to Bahrain. But first, we need to take care of a little bit of business in the wrap-up of Australia, because we got some resource points to spend. I'm not entirely set on which direction I want to take the car just yet. I don't remember if I ended up using these points at the end of last episode or not, but at the point at which I save it, it doesn't save it either way. But now I've had some time to think anyway, and I have 1,900 points to spend. And I think what I want to do, it seems like the car needs some help chassis-wise, and this is probably the direction I took last time anyway. If I did already do this, I'm not really sure. But I'm going to go with a chassis upgrade. That is 1 weeker, so that should be ready for our next race weekend. And then I think the car could probably use a little bit of front aero help. So I'm going to go for a front downforce upgrade. I'm having memories now of me going with the rear, so I could go with drag reduction. But I'm changing my opinion now. And according to this chart, Alpha has the worst aero in the entire field, so this is going to be a really important one to focus on. Either way, it's a 3-week upgrade, front or rear. But I'm going to go front this time around, and I'll probably regret it. But actually, the next thing I'll do is the rear downforce upgrade. So, no worries there. But it looks like the interview questions, I need to try and make the aero department happy. Okay, all that taken care of. Now let's look at, really quickly, rivals. Make sure I don't need to pick one yet.
Team and around the paddock, which will help make it easier to negotiate favorable contracts.
Doesn't look like it.
Your first rival is always your teammate, but you can choose who to declare as your second. The harder the rival from the eligible selection, the more respect you stand to gain or lose depending on the result.
Well, she says I can pick a rival, but I think it's just our teammate for right now, so no worries there. Let's head to the next weekend. I'm gonna skip on these challenge things for now. I don't really enjoy them very much, and it doesn't look like there's a huge benefit to them, so.
Practice sessions are vital for the continuing development of the car, but if you need to, you can choose to simulate the session instead. It won't be as effective as having you behind the wheel directly, but it's better than missing the session entirely.
Huh. I think that's new for this time around, but I feel like if you simulate the practice, you're still putting wear on the car, so I don't know. I don't know whether it's worth it or not, but we're going to go to practice 1 regardless here in Bahrain. Oh, it's so bright.
Practice is just about to get underway here at the Bahrain International Circuit. This track boasts plenty of opportunities for overtakes, so it's up to the drivers to make use of the time to get comfortable with the track conditions.
Well, the track conditions look like they're going to change because it's bright and sunny right now, but I know the race takes place at night. Recommended tire is hard for track climatization. Let me work on a little bit of setup stuff first, and then we'll get out on track for that. I'm going to load my baseline. So quite a bit of conversation with somebody in the comments, Dex, I believe, on the differential stuff. I tend to run a pretty aggressive lock differential on throttle, and the reason for that is I want to have the most amount of power possible going to the rear wheels out of the turns. I don't want it to have, you know, a lot of slip between the 2 wheels. Even though that is technically easier to drive, I find it harder to get the good launches out of the turns. When you need that grip coming out of those slow turns to get a good run down the straightaway, I want those rear wheels to be more locked than open, even though it does make it a little bit harder to steer the car out of the turns. You know, it makes it just a little bit, the steering is fought a little bit more out of the turns is basically the way I could describe it. And then on the off throttle, I like it the other way around. I don't want it to be super locked. I want the car to have a nice rotation on corner entry, losing out a little bit on the engine braking doing that, but I like the fact that the car turns in really easily. So that's why I tend to go this way with the rear differential. I'm going to go up to 90 for this track because I do know there is a major major slow and then fast approach to some of these turns. I'm not going to go for that much of a gap here arrow-wise, but I do probably want a good... whoops. Wrong button. Let's go for a 4-6 split, because this is one of those tracks where I tend to feel that we need rear grip through some of those long sweeping turns.
Right, I'll get these changes made.
Thanks, Jeff. Alright, let's head out on track. Let's go for the medium tire in the track acclimatization, since I'm using this basically as a practice session. Alright, gotta get reacquainted with our Sauber Alpha here. I just spent my evening last night doing some racing in Assetto Corsa for the first time in ages, so I'm sure I've unlearned everything I needed to learn. A little bit worried that my steering ratio is not set. It is not set. Ah, yes, you must click OK. There we go. A little behind the scenes there, breaking the fourth wall. There we go. Alright. Now we're truly well and warmed up for our lap. Really fast run down the straightaway here. Brake it like the 150. I've heard that they did indeed make these programs a little bit easier. They're not so hung up on what difficulty level you're on, and that was one of the things I really didn't like about them before, was they tried to really scale these programs with what AI difficulty you were using, and it just didn't quite match up right. It got to the point where completing the programs was much harder than meeting your goals in the race. I'm a little bit better with this track than I am with Australia, but it's not one that I would say is amongst my best tracks. I tend to race here pretty well. Overall, liking the balance of the car. I feel like I might have gone a little too far with the rear arrow. The early days to decide that just yet. That might have been good enough. Yeah, it was. It was perfect. Alright. I'm gonna do more laps, or at least half a lap in this program, because I feel like I still need to kind of get myself dialed in. I don't really have to worry about the gates too much here. Oh, I missed DRS there. Whoops. Trying to decide if I want more turn in or not. See, yep, that's where I'm losing the nose more than the back. So I think I personally want to go for a little bit more front downforce. I might even go equal. Bring the nose up one, bring the butt down one. It's always important to refer to your arrow as nose and butt. Because now I'm trying to push the car a little bit more. I'm not really paying attention to the gates. And it doesn't seem to be responding too well. It's really, yeah, really siding to the side of understeer more than anything. Alright, let's go do some work. Okay, so I'm actually at 4 and 6. Yeah, let's go to 5 and 5. Let's see what that feels like. And then on the brakes, I'm going to take that down a little bit because I was locking up quite a bit. I don't want to go too crazy low, but I definitely wanted to go down a bit. And then we'll give ye old race strategy program a try. See how it feels. So, now that we're getting a little bit settled into the rhythm of things here, how about some F1 World talk? Currently, as of the time of recording, FP2 is wrapped up in Silverstone in the real F1 series. And quite an interesting running order so far this weekend. Red Bull showing some speed. Not just Red Bull, but Gasly showing speed. Mercedes definitely looks the quickest. Nothing too out of the ordinary there. The most interesting thing and the most, focus of the weekend talk-wise has been about Team Haas, and more than anything to do with their sponsor, Rich Energy, which nobody really understands what Rich Energy is, because I don't think Rich Energy really understands what they are. Basically, I'm still overdriving that turn. Basically claimed that they are, dropping Haas as a sponsorship because of poor performance. But all of this happened over Twitter. None of it happened, legally. Which pretty much tells you right there what kind of companies we're dealing with. So, yeah, that's been going down. As of today, now there's, a lot of back and forth with it. Nobody really knows what's going to happen at this point. I'm not going to get too much into speculation. It's all just kind of hilarious to watch, to be honest. What's good is I don't feel like Haas as a team is hinging on this. I don't feel like their future is in jeopardy because of this deal. All right, let's try and hone in on a lap here, 'cause that was not good enough. Still getting quite a bit of brake lockup. A little bit too much wheel spin right there. I really do think this track's a little bit harder for throttle control than Australia was. Australia's a little bit more momentum-y. Still locking up the front tire is really surprising for the brake bias and pressure I'm using. Gosh, it really feels like I'm barely touching the brakes and it's locking them up. I might need to try and give the brake pedal an old calibration. Here, let me do that now. There. See if that improves anything. And then, no, our bias is at like 52. I can't go any more rearward. I don't know why it's locking up the front so much. Alright. I mean, that was the end of lap 2, so we gotta make something happen on this lap, or perfect program isn't gonna happen. But I'm basically still treating this just as pure practice laps. I'm not super worried about the programs. Boy, the brakes. Brakes are super touchy. Okay, that was better. Probably need to go almost down to second right there. Much better holding the track there. What's interesting is how much these conditions will change by the time we get to the race. Or qualifying even. Man, just carrying the brakes through there. That's quite bizarre. Quite bizarre. I'm starting to wonder if this is not an attribute of the car. I don't know. I wasn't getting that so much in my first laps. I'm gonna go down to 50, and that seems ridiculous to me. That's so much rear bias, but I just cannot stop locking the front tires. can't at all complete this program with a perfect, but we can still do it in a good result. Tires are, of course, not going to be super happy at this juncture. Alright. Most of the rest of the lap feels pretty good. It's just the braking zones I'm really struggling. Decent run through there. And the second gear there did seem to help a bit. Rolled that much nicer. Still smoke in the front there. Of course, it's still not a thing in these games that flat spots cause more flat spots. Like, it's not like locking the brakes causes you to have brake issues. Not something they model. Of course, if it was, I would be in deep trouble right now, because I'd have some hellacious flat spotting on these tires. Still gotta stay away from that curb. That's always been the case at Bahrain. Pretty decent lap shaping up here. Getting it honed in. Might need to make some more changes with the brakes. I really don't like running a 50% bias. It's a little risky. Yeah, that was a good lap for being out on medium tires, you know, well into a run at this point. We still, of course, need to run back-to-back laps to get a good result in the program. Toro Rosso behind me, I believe. Actually, maybe that's a Red Bull. Toro Rosso showing a lot of speed. Showing a lot of speed in Silverstone as well. Honda, in general, the two Honda cars are both looking pretty good. Of course, finally getting that monkey off their back. Boy, where does that expression come from? Hopefully not something awful. As much as I was not a huge fan of the way that Verstappen won, he drove, you know, a really impressive race other than the one incident, really. But more than anything, I was just so happy for Honda. So happy to see those engineers that have invested so much of their lives into that program finally see some good happen. Alright, we can let him go here. Alright, good pace. It was Gasly. Still got some work to do. I don't think I'm happy with the car at this point. But we're getting somewhere. I think that'll probably wrap up practice for the day.
Is marginal. Box within 2 laps.
And next time you'll see me is in qualifying. But I'm going to do a little bit more work with the setup here. Try and find some balance.
Bahrain qualifying is nearly upon us, and the drivers look as if they're all geared up to go.
Alright, it is nighttime now, so it is qualifying time here in Bahrain. Didn't really ever find a great balance in practice. A little bit down, I think, on the qualifying pace, but pretty good longer run pace, it seemed like. So I'm not terribly optimistic about our Q1 effort, and honestly the team wasn't either. It was a P19 qualifying goal for us here, so not looking particularly great. And I don't think there's anything I really want to change. So let's just head out and try for a Q1 lap. I imagine it's going to be another day of multiple runs here in Q1. Foggy. Oh, it's foggy out here. They really wanted to demonstrate their bloom effects, didn't they? Boy, it does look good. The game does look good. I have to say, this whole game has been a huge improvement over the last one. It runs good. I like what they've done with some of the career stuff. It looks good. Quite pleased. Probably could get a little bit more on the brakes right there. That's probably one of the hardest turns in Formula 1 to get to the throttle. Probably one of the ones teaching me more about throttle management, throttle control, than any other. Car definitely feels way better in the nighttime here. That's the best setup upgrade we could have possibly done to it. I'm still locking tires a little bit. Really seem to struggle with the tighter turns. This car seems like it flows well. It does good in the sweeping turns. Really struggles in some of the tighter sections. That'll be interesting to see as we progress through the tracks. There might be some tracks this car is just really, really good at. Some of the more flowing circuits. A little bit early on the brakes there as well. See, Leclerc did a 30. We're down at a 33. Russell is ahead of us as of right now. It's just really not looking too promising.
2 laps of fuel left.
And these tires don't have 2 laps of good in them. I tried that out. See, we're already a 10th down. I'll stay in it for now, but no, yeah, they don't have the same pace for 2 laps. I'm gonna run it in, but probably box this lap and then get new tires on it. At least we got a time to go for with a Delta. I'm gonna put 1 click of front wing in it for the moment and put on a new set of tires. UI. The UI is still something that is appalling in this game. Alright, so 7/10 of a second better on the new tires. We got a Delta to go against now. Let's see if we can improve. Rakkonen's done a time way better than I have. I'm kind of expecting that. I'm gonna kind of expect for a bit of a struggle as we start our career here. Especially as I'm learning, kind of relearning how to drive the car. And adjusting to what I think is actually a higher level of difficulty than we were running in F1 2018. That's not gonna help. That's not gonna help this lap at all. That hasn't hurt too bad, actually. Trying to keep the wheel spin to a minimum there, but it cost me on the exit. That felt pretty good. As did that. That all felt really a lot better. Carried the left front there a bit. Good improvements here. Good improvements. Boy, I wish you could see my throttle inputs. As much as I'm moving the wheel, I'm also moving the gas pedal down and back through the turns. Not a great last turn, but still a huge improvement of a lap. Up to P11. Not bad. Not bad. I don't think that's still enough as of right now to get us through to Q2. But that is a huge improvement over what I was running. Very pleased with that. I don't know what really changed. The car just felt
There's only 1 lap of fuel remaining.
a lot more planted. Not only is there not enough tires to run 2 laps, there's actually not enough battery energy to run 2 laps. So you would have to, you know, go in and harvest energy for a lap, and then your tires are just gonna be done. So it's a 1 lap run here for sure. But I'm happy with that progress. I'm still kind of struggling on corner exit, especially out of like this one. This one's hard enough to get the car slowed down to enter the turn, but then getting it out of there without spinning tires is a huge challenge. Alright, just playing this one out, crossing my fingers that people don't improve too terribly much. Racking it up to 10th. Still 13th. Oh, I think we dropped to the last second there. It looked like it. We'd have to be 15th. 16th. Oh, wait. No, yeah, 16th is out, right? I believe. Yeah. His top 15 goes. So close. So close. Oh, well. It's not the end of the world, like I said. I feel like we still have a good bit of time to gain. I still got a good bit of learning to do. So I'm not going to hang my head in too much of shame there. Not too much shame, but I've definitely got some work to do.
All right, I think we can call that a successful qualifying. We should be in with a good chance in the race.
Do have to remember that the team is only asking for a P17 in qualifying as of now, so we're still exceeding expectations, even though it hurts to not make it even out of Q1. That's kind of just where our team is at the moment. We need to get some upgrades on the car to really improve that. And to really improve that and to get those upgrades, we need to have good races. So we'll try everything we can do tomorrow in the race to accomplish that. Thank you as always for watching, and I will see you next time.